Fantasy football has to be one of the most competitive activities in the world. It can make grown men cry or throw legendary BFs all over social media.
I'm gonna have a BF. Don't have a BF.
We all want to win. I am no different than you are. But in order to have the best team in fantasy football, you need a roster full of great players and a whole lot of luck. Now, there's going to be plenty that changes here over the next few months, but as of right now, here are 4 running backs that I love in 2024. Number 1, Breeland Hall of the New York Jets, and I remember talking about him last year in 2023 and saying, hey, in 2024, when he's 100% healthy, he has RB1 overall potential. In 2023, he was coming off the torn ACL. They'd brought in Dalvin Cook, and we really expected some early up and down production. But by the end of 2023, we saw him get to 100% health and have 22 plus fantasy points in 4 of the last 5 games of the season. That catapulted him all the way up to the overall running back 4 in 2023. Now, the first 13 weeks of the season, he was the running back 17, averaging just over 11 fantasy points per game. But the last 5 weeks of the season, he was the overall running back 1, averaging 22.6 points per game. But let's be honest here, though. What really catapulted Breeland Hall in 2023 was the pass work. The Jets didn't have a quarterback that could throw it any further than like 3 yards down the field successfully throughout the entire season, so checkdowns were aplenty. Breeland Hall had 95 targets, 76 receptions. But does he get that kind of volume with Aaron Rodgers back in this offense? The most targets a lead running back has ever had in an Aaron Rodgers-led offense is 72. And yes, that was with Aaron Jones. Now, the 4 years that Aaron Jones spent with Aaron Rodgers, he averaged 67 targets per year. Now, given Breeland Hall's career average catch percentage and yards per reception, that's going to put him somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 catches for 425 yards if he was able to see 67 targets. That's enough for 67.5 fantasy points in half PPR scoring. That's about 30 fantasy points less than what we saw him get in 2023. But I think something we can all agree on here is that an Aaron Rodgers-led offense probably won't be bottom 3 in the league in most offensive categories. With more potential leads, giving Breeland Hall more potential touches, plus a better overall offense, which means more opportunities at touchdowns, definitely gives the offense something else to worry about with Aaron Rodgers under center more so than 2023 Zach Wilson. Now, Breeland Hall is going to be expensive on draft day. He's a projected top 5 overall pick. But when it comes to potential upside, this kid's got it. Number 2, Kiron Williams, Los Angeles Rams, and he only played in 12 games in 2023, but when he was active, the dude was unstoppable. He averaged 21.7 touches per game, scored a total of 15 touchdowns, averaged 5 yards per carry. He finished top 5 among all NFL running backs in red zone touches, rushing yards, total touchdowns, fantasy points per game, evaded tackles, yards created, you name it, the guy was great at it. And because of all of his success, he ended up finishing as the running back 4 overall in fantasy football and only played 12 games. Now, when we look at LA here this year, what do we really expect to be that much different? Not a whole lot. You got Stafford, you got Puka, you got Kupp. They have over $35 million in cap space to spend. There's no direct competition on the depth chart right now for Kiron Williams, and even though he's going to be expensive, he's already proven that in minimal work, dude can put up huge fantasy points. But all right, before we get into the last 2 names, one quick second, I gotta shout out today's sponsor. It's Mando. Mando is whole body deodorant. Look at this thing and basically compare it to an all-terrain vehicle. Body odor happens all over your body. Why are we only putting deodorant under our arms? You need to try Mando's cologne quality scents and smell the difference from your underarms to your undernuts. But whatever you do, I don't want you to pay full price for it, so new customers right now are getting $5 off a starter pack if you use our exclusive code HEADLINERS at shopmando.com. Now, my favorite combination has to be the unscented deodorant with my favorite cologne. Feel like I'm fresh for days, but remember, I want you to control body odor as well. So head over to shopmando.com, get yourself $5 off a starter pack using the code word headliners at checkout. There's links down below in the description. But all right, back to the next name on the list. Number 3 is James Conner, and he averaged more fantasy points per game and half PPR scoring than Derrick Henry, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs, Bijan Robinson, Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard, and the list goes on. Now, he missed 4 games in 2023, however, still finished top 10 among all NFL running backs in rushing yards, yards per carry, breakaway runs, and evaded tackles. I mean, Kyler Murray didn't even play until week 10, and Arizona had minimal outside weapons to pull any kind of defenders outside of the box. But once Kyler Murray returned, James Conner was the overall running back 10 in fantasy football, averaging 14.9 fantasy points per game. Now, during his time in Arizona, he hasn't had a season in which he had less than 8 touchdowns. He's also had 3 straight years with over 1,000 total yards. Yes, he's getting a little bit older. And of course, the dude can't seem to play a full season. He never has in his career. But he was still a top 20 overall running back, even though he missed 4 games this season. Now, because of that, obviously his ADP is going to be a little bit lower than the guys we've already talked about in this show. More than likely, James Conner going to be hovering right around the 6th round or so, somewhere where he could be your running back 3 overall on your roster. Now, with a full season of Kyler Murray and the team potentially going out and getting a stud wide receiver that could definitely pull some defenders outside of the box, James Conner could be a pleasant surprise once again. Last but not least, it's Naji Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I really compare him to some vanilla ice cream. By itself, it's kind of boring. You put that on a damn warm brownie and it's absolutely goated. 3 straight seasons with no missed games. 3 straight seasons with at least 275 total touches. 3 straight seasons with 1,000 yards rushing. How about 3 straight seasons with over 1,200 total yards and 3 straight seasons with at least 8 total touchdowns? And he did it once again in 2023 despite Jaylen Warren having a role in this offense. So many people look at the Pittsburgh backfield and just say, Jaylen Warren is better than Naji Harris. Those are also the same people that said that about Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott a couple years ago. Give Jaylen Warren the Naji role, he won't be as efficient. It's literally exactly what we saw in Dallas a couple years ago. They both do well in their given role. And now we have a new offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh in Arthur Smith. If we've learned anything from his time in Atlanta, he wants to run the ball and run the ball a lot. He's been a coach in the NFL for 5 years, and he's had a top 10 rushing offense in 4 of them. In 2023, Naji Harris was among the top 10 running backs in carries, red zone touches, rushing yards, and breakaway runs. And he did it all with horrible quarterback play until the very end of the season when Mason Rudolph kind of looked like an all-pro. But now we could be getting a quarterback upgrade in Pittsburgh in 2024 with some Justin Fields rumors floating out there, because I'm sorry, y'all, Kenny Pickett just ain't it. Now, out of all the names we've talked about here today, as of right now, Naji Harris is projected to be the cheapest one on the list. Is he somebody that I want to rely upon to be my running back 1 or 2? No, not really. But as my running back 3 or 4 in 2024, yes, please. But we all know that a lot is going to change between now and the time that you probably draft your fantasy football team sometime, hopefully in late August. But right now is the perfect time of year to find some of your favorite players and then follow them and their situation all throughout the offseason. But do me a favor, leave some of the names that you're paying close attention to down below in the comment section. Now, before you get out of here for the day, do me a favor and hit the like button on your way out. It definitely helps us here in the offseason. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why the hell not? We have you covered with all things football here the entire year. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And then most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place.